Hey guys, in this video, going to be going over a strong moveset build that you can go with on your Kingdra, as well as some additional move options that you could slot in and where you can access these moves. Now, Kingdra is water dragon type, which is actually a nice combo given the fact that you're only going to be weak to dragon type moves. You're going to strongly resist fire and water, and also resist steel. In terms of the numbers, Kingdra, fairly decent across the board with 95s in the attack, defense, special attack, and special defense. Then speed is there at 85 and HP at 75. Now, Kingdra isn't going to blow you away with any one particular stat category, but it also doesn't have a glaring weakness that you can point to. The rest sleep talk combo is going to be the ideal setup here in moves 1 and 2 on your Kingdra. And then some offensive options in moves 3 and 4, and I'll give you some additional moves that you could also slot in. Move number 1, we have Rest. The user is going to sleep for 2 turns, and it's going to fully restore the HP as well as status. And Rest can be learned through TM44, and TM44 Rest can be found over on the Ice Path. And this TM on the Ice Path is going to be on the basement second floor in the bottom right. And this is what the basement second floor of the Ice Path looks like, and this is that bottom right area where you can pick up the TM for Rest. Move number 2, Sleep Talk. The user must be asleep, and then it's going to use another known move. And this is often a great move to have in any competitive moveset build when you also have slotted in Rest. Sleep Talk is going to be learned through TM35, and this TM can be found over at the Goldenrod department store basement. And down in the Goldenrod tunnel, TM35 Sleep Talk is found in the warehouse next to the radio director. And this is what that underground warehouse area looks like, and this is where you can pick up that TM35 Sleep Talk. Now we have a couple of offensive moves in the move 3 and move 4 slots, and I'll give you some additional moves that you could also slot in. Now, Double Edge is a little bit tricky to get on your Kingdra. The downside to Double Edge is you get that 1/4 recoil. It has 120 power, 100 accuracy, which is nice. And it's a really strong physical move. And with Kingdra, it's nice to have a physical and a special move given the fact that it has the same stats in both the attack as well as special attack areas. And the reason this move is a little bit tricky to get is because you'd have to teach it on a Seadra in the Gen 1 games. You'd have to teach it that TM10 from the Gen 1 games, trade the Seadra back over to the Gen 2 games before evolving it into Kingdra. Now, I typically like going Return instead of Double Edge, but the argument for Double Edge in this case is the fact that since you have Rest, which is going to heal yourself up, you don't mind that 1/4 recoil as much. But if you wanted to go Return, you could slot that one in. It's TM27. It maxes out at 102 power, 100 accuracy. And TM27 Return is found over at the Goldenrod department store. And in the Goldenrod department store, it would be on the 5th floor. On Sundays, a woman will appear who will give the player TM27 Return if the lead Pokemon in the player's party has high friendship. So those are a couple of physical attack options in that move 3 slot with either Double Edge or Return. And then move 4, Surf is listed here. You get that same type attack bonus with it being a water move, 95 power, 100 accuracy. And of course, Kingdra would learn this through HM03. Now, moves learned through leveling up, you could learn Hydro Pump at level 51. The downside with it in contrast to Surf is that it's less accurate and there's less power points, but it is more powerful. I almost always prefer going Surf in relation to Hydro Pump, but that is a risk-reward trade-off that you could make. And just a couple of other special type attacks that you could slot into your Kingdra could be something like an Ice Beam or a Blizzard, kind of a similar risk-reward trade-off where I typically prefer going with Ice Beam given its higher accuracy, and it's still pretty powerful in relation to Blizzard. And Ice Beam would be learned from a move tutor in the Crystal version. And in Crystal version, after completing the game, a move tutor appears in Goldenrod City Game Corner on Wednesdays and Saturdays. He can teach one of the following moves for 4,000 coin, and of course one of those is Ice Beam. Whereas Blizzard would be picked up over at the Goldenrod Game Corner as well, and that one is 5,500 coin. So you have a number of different options that you could potentially go with. Double Edge or Return in that move 3 slot. Move 4, I think Surf is probably the best choice, but you could even go potentially Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Blizzard, things like that. And if you didn't want to go with the Rest Sleep Talk combo, you'd also have some additional areas that you could slot in moves where you could have that Double Edge Surf and then maybe Ice Beam. And even a Dragon Breath, which would be TM24 as a prize for defeating the gym leader Claire. And again, that would be if you didn't want to slot in Rest or Sleep Talk and you were looking for some additional offensive moves to put in there. And the nice thing about Dragon Breath is you also get that same type attack bonus with it being a Dragon type move. The item in this build is going to be Leftovers. At the end of every turn, the holder restores 1/16 of its max HP. And Leftovers can be picked up from a Wild Snorlax, from a trash bin in the Celadon City restaurant, and from trading Wild Clefable or Wild Snorlax from the first gen games over to the Gen 2 games. And that'll wrap this one up, so I appreciate you guys stopping by. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, and I'll catch you back here next time.